In 1815, the most important battle in European history was fought at Waterloo. Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who had conquered most of Europe, faced the British army for the last time. Thousands of men died. The fate of empires hung in the balance. But the most important person at Waterloo wasn't on the battlefield. He was watching, waiting. And when the outcome became clear, hours before anyone else in London knew, he walked calmly to the floor of the London Stock Exchange and made the greatest trade in history. His name was Nathan Rothschild, and his family didn't just fund Napoleon, they funded everyone. The Rothschild family is the most mythologized banking dynasty in history. Conspiracy theories have swirled around them for 2 centuries. Most of them are false, most of them are anti-Semitic, and almost all of them miss something far more interesting than the myths: the truth. Because the truth is this: 5 brothers, sent to 5 cities, built the first truly international banking network the world had ever seen. They financed both sides of the Napoleonic Wars. They saved the Bank of England. They funded the abolition of slavery in the British Empire. They bankrolled the Suez Canal. And they did it starting from a single room in the Jewish ghetto of Frankfurt. This is the real story of the House of Rothschild. Frankfurt, Germany, 1744. Meyer Amschelbauer is born in the Judengasse, the Jewish alley, a cramped, walled ghetto where Frankfurt's Jewish population is forced to live. They cannot own land, they cannot hold public office, they cannot leave after dark, but they can lend money, and they can trade. Meyer Amschel changes his name to Rothschild after the red shield that hangs above his family's door. He starts as a coin dealer, trading rare coins with German princes who collect them. He is charming, meticulous, and patient. He catches the attention of Prince Wilhelm of Hesse, one of the wealthiest men in Germany, who made his fortune renting out his soldiers to foreign governments. Rothschild becomes his financial agent, his trusted banker. And then Napoleon arrives. When French forces sweep through Germany, Prince Wilhelm flees, leaving his enormous fortune in Rothschild's hands for safekeeping. Rothschild hides it, protects it, returns it faithfully when the crisis passes. In doing so, he earns something more valuable than money. He earns a reputation. In banking, reputation is everything. Before he dies in 1812, Meyer Amschel Rothschild does one thing that will change history. He sends each of his 5 sons to a different European city. Amschel to Frankfurt, Salomon to Vienna, Nathan to London, Kalman to Naples, Jacob to Paris. 5 cities, 5 banks, 1 family, 1 strategy. The timing is extraordinary. The Napoleonic Wars are reshaping Europe. Governments need money, desperately, constantly, in enormous quantities. Armies must be fed, equipped, paid. Wars are expensive, and no single bank in any single country can supply what's needed. But a network of banks, connected by family, by trust, by a private courier system faster than any governments, can. The Rothschilds perfect the art of moving money across borders. When the British government needs to fund the Duke of Wellington's army in Spain, they need to get gold from London to the Iberian Peninsula through French-controlled territory. Nathan Rothschild arranges it through a network of agents, disguised shipments, and financial instruments so complex that even the French cannot track them. Wellington gets his gold. Britain stays in the war. Nathan in London becomes the most important figure in the network. He is brilliant, aggressive, and utterly fearless. He trades government bonds on the London Stock Exchange with a speed and confidence that leaves other bankers bewildered. By 1814, the Rothschilds are financing not just Britain, but Austria, Prussia, and Russia as well. They are funding the alliance that is trying to defeat Napoleon. They are, in a very real sense, funding both sides of the war, because they are also doing business with Napoleon's France. This is not treachery. This is banking. And the Rothschilds understand something that generals never do. Wars end. Relationships last. June 18th, 1815. Waterloo. Napoleon faces the Duke of Wellington and the Prussian army of Field Marshal Blucher. It is the decisive moment of the Napoleonic era. Nathan Rothschild has an agent at the battlefield, or very close to it. The details are disputed by historians. But what is not disputed is this. Nathan received news of Napoleon's defeat significantly before the official British government courier arrived in London. He went to the stock exchange. At this moment, British government bonds, called consols, are trading at depressed prices. Everyone expects a long war. If Napoleon wins, British bonds collapse. If he loses, they surge. Nathan begins to sell. Other traders watch him. Nathan Rothschild is selling. He must know something. Napoleon must have won. They sell too. Prices fall further. Then quietly, through agents positioned across the floor, Nathan begins to buy. Everything at the lowest possible price. Hours later, the official news arrives. Napoleon has been defeated. Wellington has won. British bonds surge. Nathan Rothschild's profit from a single day's trading is estimated to have multiplied his fortune several times over. In one day, the Rothschilds became the dominant financial power in Britain. Here is what the conspiracy theories always miss. The Rothschilds didn't use their power to secretly rule the world. They used it to do something far more interesting and far more human. In 1835, Nathan Rothschild and his brother-in-law, Moses Montefiore, helped finance the emancipation of slaves in the British Empire. The British government needed to compensate slave owners, a morally grotesque requirement, but the political price of abolition. The Rothschilds provided the loan. They funded the Suez Canal. They backed Cecil Rhodes in South Africa, a decision that later generations of the family deeply regretted. They lent to governments that built railways, hospitals, and universities. And they fought consistently and persistently for Jewish emancipation. Lionel de Rothschild spent 11 years being elected to the British Parliament and refused to take his seat because the oath required him to swear on a Christian Bible. He sat in the chamber, refused to swear, and was sent away 11 times, until Parliament changed the law. The family that conspiracy theorists claim secretly controls the world spent a century fighting just to be treated as equal citizens. The real Rothschild story is not about hidden power. It's about what people do with money when the world tells them they shouldn't have any. The House of Rothschild still exists. It is one of the oldest continuously operating financial institutions in the world. It no longer dominates global finance the way it once did. The world is too large, too complex, too interconnected for any single family to hold that kind of influence. But the model they built, the international banking network, the use of family trust across borders, the idea that private finance could shape political outcomes, that model is the skeleton of the modern financial world. Meyer Amschel Rothschild, dying in Frankfurt in 1812, reportedly told his sons, "Stay together, and no power on earth can defeat you." They stayed together. For a century, no power on earth could defeat them. And from a single room in a ghetto where they were forbidden to own land, forbidden to hold office, forbidden to leave after dark, they built something that outlasted every empire that tried to keep them small. Subscribe to Empire Unveiled. Next week, the company that wasn't just richer than any country. It had its own army, its own laws, and the right to declare war. The Dutch East India Company, the most powerful corporation in history.